What's up, bud?
A lot of people don't know this, but if you have the YouTube app on your phone, you could be potentially using it to make a full-time income without ever making any of your own videos. This is thanks to a new change in YouTube's algorithm that actually now allows you to make money from other people's YouTube videos, meaning the videos that other YouTubers have already uploaded for you. My name is because I actually despite all of the financial craziness that is going on in the last few years. It's all thanks to this new change in YouTube's algorithm that allows you to make YouTuber money without actually having to be a YouTuber yourself, without having to make any of your own videos or even start your own channel. This can potentially help you create a brand new second income stream to set yourself and your loved ones up for financial security and
Stop it.
financial freedom, while the rest of the world is going through some of the most volatile and crazy economic conditions that we have ever seen. If that sounds interesting to you, today is your lucky day, because I just put together a free case study video that not only breaks down exactly how I was able to achieve these results, but also how countless number of my students have been able to do this exact same thing and potentially create a second income stream simply using the YouTube app on your phone without ever having to
You done bopped your head, huh?
starting their own YouTube channel. All you have to do to access the free case study video is click the link right now, fill in your details, and you can be watching it within the next 2 minutes. You're deciding for yourself whether this is legit or not, because trust me, I get it. I know you see a lot of scams, a lot of BS on social media. That's why during this case study, not a single stone is going to be left unturned. You're literally going to see live, undeniable proof right in front of your eyes exactly how this works and how I was able to achieve these results, potentially how you can do the exact same thing. I say potentially because obviously I don't know.
Oh, Big Zach? Ziggy?
You're going to make as much money as me, or that you're even going to see similar results.
The Big
Why I
Z?
would encourage you to check out the free case study, decide for yourself if this is legit, if it's something that could potentially help you in the upcoming months with all the financial craziness that's going on in the world right now. Just click the links around this video right now. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. If my 64-year-old mom can make $18,274 in just 59 days from this brand new side hustle, then so can you. My name's Johnny, and while I was a broke college student eating ramen out of paper bowls most nights, I started researching different ways I could make an income on the side, but I just knew I didn't want to do the traditional side hustles that most gurus were suggesting, like starting a marketing agency, selling physical products, doing Amazon FBA, or even becoming an affiliate. But that's when I stumbled upon this new weird side hustle that actually allowed me to start making some income on the side. It's called a remote house cleaning business. And yes, you heard me right. I said house cleaning, but get this. With my model, I never have to pick up a mop, I never have to sweep the room, and I never have to slap on a pair of legs. And I'm able to use this model $5,000 per month doing it. Now look, while everyone out there right now is trying to push these sexy, trendy, shiny new business models, this highly unsexy business model completely crushes anything else out there for three very simple reasons.
For sure. What's up, Clyde?
Anybody can do it, even my 64-year-old mom, who's by far the least tech-savvy person I know, yet still brings in a smooth $18,000 to $20,000 per month doing this. Number two, it takes less time than a part-time job. And number three, most importantly, it's completely remote. You can do it from anywhere in the world. And the best part, you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting or cleaning yourself. And the cherry on top to all
Just chilling, man.
cleaning services aren't going anywhere anytime soon, which makes this business model
Just chilling.
completely recession-proof. So no matter what happens to tech or AI, you're good. So if you want to get your time back and build your very own remote cleaning business, make an extra $3,000 to $5,000 per month, and hedge against the upcoming recession, I want you to check out my free walkthrough video where I talk about the 3-step
But what are you
process
doing?
that allowed me to build one of these businesses to over $65,000 per month, and how we've also helped over 700 of our clients build a steady income stream for themselves. So check it out in the link below.
We have spacecraft from another species. We do, yeah. How many? Quite a number. You're saying there is an
That's what they've been asking you to do?
engaging with this matter. Yes.
Oh, booger.
Watching this right now is looking at your face.
Damn.
They're going, is this guy for real? You never like that David Rush, you've probably seen him in the news. Right? He talks about cooking up his stuff. I think it's worth your time to go look up his background. He's worked at geospatial. According to the people who did the interview, they background checked him and all of his records check out. He's an intelligence officer in the Air Force, and we'll leave it at that. You have the security classifications to go anywhere and ask anyone anything. I have, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I have the ability to be let into any program that I needed.
Do do bum 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 bum. Do bum 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 bum. Oh yeah. People crazy, man. People are crazy.
Technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin, vehicles that have either landed or crashed. Spacecraft from another species. We do, yeah. How many?
People are crazy. Get your butt.
Totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of They told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was ready to. Where are they, Jim? That the U.S. government has been considering the existence on this planet of alien life. I would couch it as non-human intelligence, NHI, like we like to say in our language. Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI? I don't necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, they're coming from a certain location, and I couch it as somebody who studied physics where...
Yeah, who fucking knows, dude? The draft about to be coming Thursday.
There's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. There's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah, let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet? Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah. I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock. It was to me, and I had a lot of sleepless nights. Yeah, so let's first start off by talking about a couple of things. He's going to talk a lot about clearance and that kind of thing. And clearances, if you've never done the military, there are levels of clearance and then there's access. So once you get to the level of clearance like top secret, there's access.
Whoa.
Programs past that, I'm have the same clearance, but we don't have a need to know about the other guy's project. Guess what? We don't get to know. It's called, that's when he talks about red on or red in. He's talking about being part of a program and he needs to have access to that. Otherwise, you get things like Snowden and those
Yeah.
things where they have all this knowledge they can take away and walk.
I ain't trying to sell them all. You don't see me skipping.
Important. So he's talking about, I could rewrite on anything. It doesn't mean it was. It means it could be.
Clyde, just touch your nose.
Different thing.
Go along for the ride. Let me drive.
You know, if you're a person who has something to hide, which I'm going to tell you, if you walk through this thing, there's certainly a glass wall up somewhere here. What he's trying to hide, don't know, but he's certainly trying to hide something.
I don't drink, so I can drive. I know what I'm doing.
Hold on to that information the longer the conversation goes. You got to appease your enemy. And by that I mean you got to keep that person thinking that what you're doing is divulging enough information. When you interrogate a person, that person is the threshold thing. By that, I still have my protective driving days. We talk about threshold driving, so that you're right on the brakes, just short of letting your nose go. That's threshold braking. Threshold thinking is I pay attention to you. I don't go far enough to tip your hand. I have to be very careful. So they have to appease the interviewer, disclose as little information as they can possibly do, and then maintain believability. So those three things.
Hey, it'll tell you.
The longer you talk,
When you click on them,
negative of the exact
that button will come up.
trying to hide, so that it's the only thing.
Just observe your whole screen till you figure it out.
This guy starts off
Ask Google.
thinking I can see it.
Google will let you know quick.
Paying attention to this guy. We do this in elicitation all the time because if you overstep your bounds and the person knows what you're after.
When you like change your option, they'll tell you to sell the whole stack. It'll say the whole stack.
Write a number. I don't hear any real answers so far. I can answer everything he's done. He does, yeah, that's an intro to get in.
Yeah, that's Google. They got you there.
Boxing in my answer, give me 20 seconds to get to the next part of the conversation. So pay attention to what the guy's doing. That's what we're seeing right now. All this guy's on the agent panel, they're pretty busy. And they're coming and going constantly. So we don't have a lot of time when it comes time to eat, to go to the grocery store, decide what we're going to eat, get everything, come home, and prepare. And we don't get to a lot of fast food and expensive takeout. But not only that's cheaper than what we're trying to factor. So what is factor? Factor is a meal delivery service. And factor makes nutrition goals delivered fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. Their team of gourmet chefs create each meal using local ingredients.
End game's nice.
Help you feel your best all day long. Factor meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat in 2 minutes, which is perfect for busy lifestyles. Factor chef prepared meals make it easy to eat well. You don't have to get takeout. Fast food. You don't have to opt for something that isn't good for you. You can eat healthy by using Factor. We do. It's awesome. This is awesome. Every meal delivered fresh, never frozen.
A bunch of bullshit calls.
Factor75.com or click the link below and use code DBP50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. That's Factor75.com or click the link below and use the code DBP50
Damn.
to get 50% off your first Factor box. Chase what you got. Say got some things, I'm sure. Yeah, so let me set the record straight here. 90% of anyone in the military has the ability to be ready to any program that they need to operate in. And I'm talking 19-year-olds with a security clearance can say that same sentence. When he's saying I'm extremely highly cleared, I think what he might be referring to is the White House level, which is kind of above top secret.
PGs, 2 games.
Most people don't even hear the name of this level of clearance, but you know, we like to deliberate it for you on the agent panel, and that's called Yankee White. So he's referring to a clearance level of Yankee White, which isn't really a clearance, but it's kind of a nickname for a level of access. Clearance, there's no name clearance.
Hey,
Secret, but there are
what are you doing?
special access.
Just chilling. What are you doing?
I did it.
What are you doing?
I did it.
I don't need
Why
you.
don't you get it?
I don't need you messing with that.
Huh?
No, Daddy got one.
No,
I got one. Thank you.
I do that too.
I think we got 6 of these. Kobe. Why, Kobe? Why?
You see this lip compression in the coming video that we're going to dissect, where you're going to reveal a lot.
lot of damn shoes. Too many damn shoes. Hiya waka, Kiki waka. Oh yeah, buddy. Every day. Adidas, James Harden. I like these zooms. James Harden should be coming. What's wrong? What's wrong with you, man? KD?
number. Quite a number. What do you mean, quite a number? What, more than 10? Less than 5? I mean, 101? Quite a number? I mean, that could be anything. Why was something so clear and articulate just give us quite a number? So, no numbers there. They provided me documents and other proof, but around that we get repetition, we get overlap, we get concern, we get misconception, and we get a vocal thing on that. I don't expect to hear any or see any about those things if documents were provided and other proof. So documents were proof of something. What's the other proof? I mean, like, tell us. What other proof? Tell us what the other proof is. Listen, I'm already finding it more than slightly annoying, and it's going to get worse. So if I have to duck out of this for a while, stick my head in a bucket of water, I may well have to do that. Let's see what else we got. So can I give you one data point? One thing to remember is he has an IG complaint, which protects him as a whistleblower, but his sources who disclose this stuff to him are not protected by that IG complaint. So he has to be very careful if he says something that only Martin knew. That's one of the things. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there, but yeah, I'm with you.
I've been calling you back. Who was your baby?
So very good, please.
I had, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I had the ability to be read into any program that I needed. At that point in time, I was extremely highly cleared. What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force? The UAP task force has refused access to a broad crash retrieval program. When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean? These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed. We have spacecraft, well, another species. We do, yeah. I mean, quite a number. Now, I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not
He cut his feet, didn't he? His toe. I said, didn't he cut his toe outside?
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. You want?
You need to make sure you start having shoes out there, man.
Somebody who studied physics where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah. Let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet? Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah. I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock. It was to me, and I want to sleepless nights. You're not being paid for this interview? No, I'm not. Why are you doing this? It's a sense of service, call me a Boy Scout or whatever. It's just like, when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I do not want to live a life of regret. You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence individual at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we're not alone. We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone. You see that we have, the United States has spacecraft
hanging out and watching movies.
We don't have phones. We have spaces.
Well, actually,
When you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And I believe in that as fantastical as that sounds. It's true. Have you seen, I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
Regular already scientifically what I would call super strength. It's potentially some spectrum involvement here, but it's mixed with what I think might be his desire to be larger than life. And this is going to play out in
Mark Jackson.
ways he might not expect. And I think there's an element of maybe stagecraft here. And Mark, I'd love to hear your take on this. It's almost as if he's performing, which would mean that he's being deceptive, not being deceptive necessarily, but maybe he's acting like some kind of role. So you see his eyes closed while he's saying the sense of service. And this closed eye talking
You selling for the cash.
when somebody's patting themselves on the back in like a pretentious manner, while they're trying to make it look humble. An example is always, I get that when you ask your neighbor why they bought some solar panels for their house or an electric car, and they go, oh, well, you know, it's good for the environment. He's the same exact behavior. He uses the left side of his body to talk about negative stuff, and this is spot on throughout the video. You'll see this again, so it's going to come up later. So he uses this side when he's speaking about something negative. So the weird upward look in his voice, he's in unusual places. It's almost as if he uses the lilt instead of a head nod or something to accentuate stuff in his speech that he thinks is important. I think this is a normal way of being for him, and I bet good money he was in theater and has a natural dramatic flair in his voice. We also heard him use these weird tone shifts when he was discussing information that we know to be true, which is how we try to establish a behavioral baseline. I can imagine him using the same tone in his kitchen, asking somebody if they want a cocktail or a glass of water. He admits the U.S. having intact craft and spacecraft, but the interviewer didn't specify the origin of that craft. NASA has spacecraft that are intact, as I'm aware, so that's a true statement. And when he's asked about the bodies, he's uncomfortable, and he uses a hypothetical scenario to escape the question instead of answering. And if you listen again, in his mind, he's speaking about
brushing your teeth, not
Scroll too far.
So seeing interesting photos and reading interesting reports is not conclusive or even conclusive of the being seen. As you're watching this video with us, I've also seen interesting photos and interesting reports. If you spend time on Reddit reading about
Before that door, man.
How about it?
Whether it's true or not, no story that we're going to tell you yet what we think. But look, as you interrogate and somebody says, I heard that from someone else, that's called hearsay. It's caveated in your report. You know, a long time since I've written an intelligence report, but you caveat that hearsay and you say, who told you? When did they tell you, and how did they know? That's an important part of how you report intelligence. I would ask him, hey, how did you know? I would have gone down that thing. Here's the first really big lip compression to me in Fading Facts. He says, you're not alone. He goes, yeah, and he really compresses. Let me give you a third reason, because we say compressing your lips is often controlling or containing information, and I'll say often emotion. When people are very emotional, they'll do it. Another time is to suppress a smile. So let's pay attention, because if I'm afraid I'm going to smile, I may go to control it as well. Pay attention to him very closely. I love that you brought up the closed eye talking to Chase, because I had Chase's closed eye talking right here. His amused upper face at the time he's doing that compressed lip, look at his eyes are almost smiling, makes me concerned that the lip compression is more than simply withholding information. Do we have bodies? Yes. There's
That's a yes or no question. Come on. There's a brand new head wobble that we haven't seen yet. 3 axis, not the normal. He's doing pitch roll on y'all with his head as he conditions. Believe it or not, fantastic. Let's look for that again. And then at the end, he says it's true. He does a request for proof. All that feels awfully awkward from what we've seen. I agree with you, Chase. There's somewhat of an act here. But let me also tell you that when you resist interrogation, there's somewhat of an act to who you are because you're trying not to project enough information for them to get a hold of you. It's kind of a Teflon thing. He said, I've seen enough. I'll leave that one alone. You said exactly what I do. All of us have seen reports, seen photos, and read things. There's a lilt at the end as he says that, as he finishes up that he says, I have seen photos and read reports. There's a lilt. That's the source lead. And if I were interrogating him, I'd say, okay, tell me where. Tell me what you saw. Tell me when. And force him to get to the point where he does the age-old I can't tell you. That's when you are pushing a guy, literally, when a guy's clear. Chase, if I push you on a hot topic, you get to a point you find a way around it. You don't keep answering questions or you simply say, I can't talk about that. And that's what people do. You know, you get the guy who says, you know, the age-old thing, if I tell you I'd have to kill you. We all know that's BS, but that's just the way people are. The next question would be for me, what did you see? Where did you see it? Look, and why, if you were this important, why didn't you see the real thing instead of pictures? Why? Why? I poke him. Look, I know that this guy was in a program according to what the vetting has been done by the news network, and these guys are pretty credible. Check it out.
I told you.
Mark, what do you think?
See?
Well, not a lot else other than to concur with what you said, because this one's a little bit of a simple one, isn't it? Yes, absolutely. Like talking there, I had it as well. To the idea of that he's acting, there is an act going on. I think you're right, and I think that what I would call the mugging that we're seeing, which is the overemphasis in the face of certain feelings, I think that's about him playing a role, and I think it's a moral role. I think it's virtue signaling. I think he's playing the role of I'm a moral hero in this situation. I think further on we'll find out who he believes is, what he believes is immoral, and what he's on the crusade, the moral crusade against. But look, if he is wanting to live this incredible life of being more moral than everybody else and not living any regret, as he says, he's not really on the edge of his seat around that. I mean, somebody's taking this moment to go, this is my moment to do the opposite of what most other people have done and do the right thing. He's really laid back and relaxed. And a little bit protective as well in a relaxed way around that. It doesn't seem to have the entropy that I would think it should have for somebody who's on that kind of real crusade. Again, to your point, Greg, do we have bodies? The answer should be yes or no. It's pretty simple. Yes, no. But he becomes, Scott, one of your phrases here, he becomes the mayor of Qualified Town around this. I've never seen so many qualifications as to how you can maneuver around a yes or no answer around this. 2 for 2, that's still an incredibly annoying individual. Scott, what do you got?
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, and you're right. He needs a reason to be doing this. And what he said his whole thing on, the base of this whole thing is ethics and morality. That's what he brings up almost at the end of, as often as he's doing, as we're seeing compressed lips, we're seeing stress mouth at the end where his lips are doing that. We hear him talk about ethics and morality. So that's what he's basing the whole thing on. And so if he has been trained to do this, if this is a show, like that's a gut feeling I have. He's on a mission here to say specific things and give specific information out. I think that might be what we're taking a look at here. The questions are basically the same. I mean, it's just again, so they're aliens, they're people from outer space. What's going on? Where are they from? I got to ask you. He's asking the same questions, the same thing over and over with the guy asking questions. He's not getting the answers he wants, or set up the way he wants them. He's getting the idea. Sorry, I'm bugging me. But he's not getting the answer he wants. And he does say there are dead and alive pilots. So he's confirming there's something that's been here.
No, he says pilots, just pilots. He does not say what kind.
It
It doesn't say alien pilots. It doesn't say alien pilots.
No, not saying it's dead and alive. There are pilots.
We've got a bunch of them here in the country.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Okay, I think that maybe it's the presentation of it that's making us think it's dead alien pilots. That's the concept.
It's the framework, yeah. It's the framework, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I see what you're saying. You're not going to agree so hard on this thing, Chase. It's ridiculous because I know where you're going with this. I am too.
You think so?
Oh, I think so. Man.
Got a good rap.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Then after his elastic speech there, we hear him going to paying facts. It gets kind of quiet there. So I think this may not be the true reason he's doing it, which I really don't think it is. Which will go back to my wrap up at the end. I'll talk about that. Then again, he's asking about the existence of aliens, and he says we are not alone. So he's confirming that there's something. But he doesn't say they're from space. He says he's already said they're from this, most likely from this other dimension. And a little while we'll hear him contradict that. But I'll wait for that. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Leanna Lynn relies on
I don't know about that one,
Spectrum to keep her shop connected with fast, reliable internet, the Spectrum Business Connect phone system, and mobile service.
I cannot live without it.
That's Spectrum Business. No nonsense, just business.
See if MT put it in.
You're not being paid for this interview?
No, I'm not.
Why are you doing this?
It's a sense of service, you know. Call me a Boy Scout or whatever. It just when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I did not want to live a life of regret.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
You've said that the United States has spacecraft, intact craft.
We do.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of...
Well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
Have you seen spacecraft?
I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
Let's get into the issue of your credibility. Why should we believe you? You're just somebody coming out of nowhere, making claims that we really, ultimately, can't prove.
I don't know,
Yeah.
really. Am I standing in
Well,
there?
we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the House staff. We went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider. Even if you call them NHI and UAP, how could such NHI travel to Earth in the first place and go undetected by the general public? Grush says the craft may not be travelling through space as we understand it.
It is a well-established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that there most likely are physical additional spatial dimensions. And you could imagine in 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but it could be that this is not necessarily extraterrestrial and it's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, well, first of all, I love that intake of breath there. That's fully out of baseline as he goes into fudging the category of ET into NHI, non-human intelligence. So he's already pushing pushing our categorization. He's a real postmodernist, this guy. He's pushing our categorization so we won't have anything really to hold on to, our usual ideas, which is going to cause him to slip up in the end, because he's going to go back to some usual physics idea. I get your point, Scott, that he's apparently studied a bit of physics. Probably could have studied more, because pretty rudimentary the way he goes with it, and also tripping over his own fudging of categories there. What I love, I love an Australian interviewer. We're great fans of Liam, I think it is, on not Ian, Liam. On, I think, channel 7, I think it is. Anyway, this guy's great as well. I loved it in the first video where he says, "You're kidding. You're kidding." He really calls it on that. He goes, "You're kidding. You're making this up, aren't you?" Well, he's got the look in this video of an adult that's watching an 8-year-old tell stories. There's this real kind of pleasure, slight pleasure on his face as he listens and listens to this wild story happening, mildly wild story happening, evolve, and he kind of, pushes him along, ekes him along, kind of teases him along. 3 for 3, still quite an annoying individual. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, what I love about this, and when I first heard him ask the question, I was like, why the hell would you ask your question? And I thought, because what you're doing is allowing this guy to give you his opinion, which he does a lot in this show, but it's brilliant, because what happens, and I don't know that the interviewer intentionally did something brilliant, but he does something brilliant. You get this guy now to look at his baseline. My guess is this is him in his living room talking to people. Look at all the hand movement. Look at all the facial expressions. Everything changes. If you look at it, here's the body language persuading people.
We'll open up
He's an factual, intelligent, having intelligence also comes very compact force, downward.
Can't play good luck. Why?
He thinks and his hands are doing the work while
well, actually, I'm gonna mute my mic before I play this and see what it says.
He's got great congruency of message because his body is talking and his brain is talking. There's a lot of eye access and he thinks about what he's saying instead of riveted eye contact or getting an answer, looks down. It's not internal voice, it's just him creating the right answer to answer the question. And then he draws his head back and keeps his eyes contacting and does that pulling taffy move.
Actually, doesn't say something bad for one.
Are you with me? He looks under his brow. When he does that, telling them it's just a theory. His brow goes up, and that's "Do you get me?" I would have
Kentucky song. We're one like away from 40 likes. We'll open a pack away at 40 likes. Kentucky is your favorite song? 40 likes.
Sir Mark, argue. He's ready for that. I think he said so many times he's almost bored with it because he's like, as he starts talking, because it's the top of it, it's almost like a yawn. So I think that might bore him a little bit. But now he's suggesting the aliens came from another dimension on Earth, and they're alongside us, so we can't see them. And he says this is just a theory. But before he talked about how the math and all those things proved that they were true, and he says it's a fact. So this is where it's starting to bug me, because he's contradicting himself. He's saying it is one thing, and this is a fact. He's saying, this is just a theory. They came from one of these things. But before he said they most likely came from another dimension. So it sounds like, I'm just saying this because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like this guy's been doing a lot of mushrooms or something. Because I remember at Berkeley, when these guys would do mushrooms, they'd sit around and talk about other dimensions and stuff like that all the time. That's what they get into. And it just, it just started to sound a bit odd. His body language really hasn't changed a whole lot in this. His voice tone, volume, his cadence, everything seems to be the same. He's going right along with that same personality and that lilt in there, almost like a child. Really big facial expressions, a lot of huge mouth and eye movement. So I think he's prepared for all this, And I think it shows. It's showing. Something's up here. He's got a plan that he's following. I think you guys are right about that. I think there's something up here. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, there's a tiny flash of anger on his face when he says they provided this proof. And I don't think this is him being angry at the interviewer. I think it's either a feeling of superiority, and he's angry that somebody wouldn't answer that question, or somebody would ask him that, or that he's angry the Inspector General didn't make the proof public yet. And Scott, to kind of roll into this, what you were talking about, as he's describing this, there are a few hallmarks that indicate this is what he truly believes, and he doesn't want to publicly say it. He calls it a well-established fact and gives it credibility. His confidence spikes, his gestures are more animated as he starts to describe this theory. And when he's talking about 4- and 5-dimensional space, his eyes move to the lower right. We typically look down this way when we're thinking about something that's emotional, something we're really passionate about. And this is a theory. I'm not saying this is 100% true. I think that's what he said, or 100% the case. And this shows us he likely believes it is the most likely case. And he's gesturing to his right side to talk about all of this. This is where he uses positive gestures over here. He's using his right side. So to sum this up, I'm going to give you a quote from Interstellar, where they are in this 4-dimensional tesseract. And there's this robot named TARS, I think, in the movie, with Matthew McConaughey floating in this black hole. And the robot says to Matthew McConaughey, he says, humans couldn't build this. And McConaughey replies, not yet. I believe David thinks these are humans, but not from here. And if, in fact, he believes this at all, we're going to see more of it in just a second. That's all.
Maybe we're not going down the same road.
We're not.
One of those tape replays. Let's deal with the issue of your credibility. Why should we believe you? You're just somebody coming out of nowhere, making claims that we really ultimately can't prove.
Yeah. Well, we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the health staff, and we went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even coming from a respected insider. Even if you call them NHI and UAP, how could such NHI travel to Earth in the first place and go undetected by the general public? Grush says the craft may not be travelling through space as we understand it.
It is a well-established fact, at least mathematically and based on empirical observation and analysis, that there most likely are physical additional spatial dimensions. You could imagine 4 and 5D space where what we experience as linear time ends up being a physical dimension in higher dimensional space, where if you were living there, you could translate across what we perceive as a linear flow. So there is a possibility that, and this is a theory here, I'm not saying this is 100% the case, but it could be that
all the time
necessarily extraterrestrial, and that's actually coming from a higher dimensional physical space that might be co-located, right here.
What can you tell me about these craft, these technologies? Why do you know it's exotic?
Based on the very specific
listening to
properties that I was briefed on, isotope ratios. That
people in the military and shit talk about it.
At those levels,
People in the government telling their stories.
Strange, heavy atomic metal, high up in the periodic
Highly
table,
decorated officials.
arrangements that we don't understand, what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements.
So you're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this Earth?
Yeah, they're sophisticatedly engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while Grush says the US has gleaned some insight from these materials for military use, so much more could be done
if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially the U.S. citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting from broad research on this to solve, propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
If nursing has taken you far, but you're ready to go further, you belong at Chamberlain University, where you earn your RN to BSN on your schedule in as little as a year. Chamberlain University, belong to something great.
Yeah.
Got limits to ching chongs. You want to be best friends?
Critics rave.
Smashing, baby!
Joyride is a raunchy, rowdy comedy.
You're a drug dealer? You're a drug dealer now, bitches!
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Greg, what do you
So
got?
he starts to bump into giving away some intelligence. The minute you start talking about facts about what is in a program, like for example, kinds of metals.
I need the invincibles. No, I hate.
Intelligence, because that stuff that nobody else knows is intelligence. But he's not going into statistics. He's not talking about what exactly he saw. He's just using words. He's not using words. He's using language, a lot of language that has no meaning and no content. So as you listen to him, listen for language without content. These words he's using, like isotopic ratios. Okay, what were they? You're going to bring it up. What were they? Give me some numbers. Tell me what that is. Then he says hard facts on the periodic table, or he says high numbers on the periodic table. Even Bob Lazar gave us a number. Come on, man, we can make that up. It's 269, whatever number you want to make up. But he doesn't. He doesn't give us any numbers. And if he's a physicist, he would probably know that number and would remember it. I'm questioning anytime I hear somebody bump up against something and they're using a language of but no content. It makes me uncomfortable, because guess who uses that? Disinformation campaigns use that, because what they do is they blast out language with no content, and then you can't prove or disprove what they say. It's powerful, it's a tool, it's what we do. And now he drops the internal voice in a heavy way. If I'm navigating language, I'm going to drop to an internal voice. I would have said, look, man, what were you briefed on? You tell me exactly what you briefed on. Push him until he said, I can't tell you. Then I said, okay, we'll leave that alone. We'll move to a new one. If you ask me these same questions, I can answer everything this guy has done today. Everything he said, I could answer. Because I don't know much about physics, except for periodic table has no end. We just haven't found everything on it, to your point about Matthew McConaughey and not yet. We just don't know what's there. There's no content, a lot of jargon, and then there's a lip compression again at a strange mix of elements. And I think that's because he ran out of words and needed to stop. Here's he's talking about, when he starts talking about normal stuff, when he's talking about progress in that, watch again. No eye contact. Now he's thinking, his brain is working and he's moving away. But when you ask him a hard question, there's riveted eye contact. That makes me uncomfortable. The interrogator in me goes, my bullshit meter is pegged when you do that. I'm uncomfortable. Then his head goes back, and he's got an RFA, a request for approval, and his brow goes up. As he says the word disinformation campaign, and a little distaste in his mouth. Got my attention. Chase, what do you got?
You just took all the good stuff. Sorry about that Interstellar thing earlier. If you're watching, it just happens to be my favorite movie of all time, and I think that's what he was describing. But when he says certainly not by humans, there's lip compression, and it's different than his normal lip compression because these muscles right here, the sternocleidomastoid muscles, and there's pre-swallow movement. Right before the camera cuts, you can see that. I think he disagrees with the statement. And whether it's your statement or somebody else's, you can use this technique anywhere when you start seeing things like that, especially the lip compression. And then he says there's a strange mix of elements. He's showing more disagreement on his face here than at any other time in the interview, as far as I could see. There's lip compression with horizontal lip retraction, which is a little bit different. It starts to indicate some fear starting to creep in there. Then the head goes backward, like this head withdrawal. Greg, I think you were talking about that. And there's finally emotional accessing, some down right movement, and his baseline is to move down left. And he's either holding something huge back here, which might be the case, or he disagrees with this pretty strongly, which it tends to look more like from my experience. And in the case that he disagrees with what he's saying, this would point even closer to the possibility that he's acting and doing this as some kind of a performance, but with a script maybe written by somebody else. It's interesting so far, but let's look at the rest to see if we can confirm that or not. But when he says disinformation campaign, it shows contempt a little bit on his face, but one huge thing here is the use of the word sophisticated to describe the disinformation campaign. It's the identical word he used to describe these awesome spacecraft, which he holds in such high regards as to risk his reputation for. The same word. This is not common. When somebody respects something, they do not use the same words to describe something they don't like, almost ever. This is a big deal, that word being used with disinformation campaign is pretty strange here, and we might see some more of that coming up. Scott?
All right, great. Now let's talk about that, because that contempt comes between sophisticated and misinformation campaign. So that's there's something up there, something up there. Then he goes right into that whole thing about ethics again. Not the whole thing he's squatted on about ethics and morality. He goes back to that. So we may be going down the same road, Chase. I think maybe. So again, all this is hearsay. He's not showing it. He hasn't really seen much. He hasn't seen anything. He hasn't said, well, I saw this or I saw that. He says he saw some videos. He's not seeing any of these, whatever it is, these non-human beings. He hasn't seen anything. All these people just come and talk to him about it out of nowhere. Just start telling him about it. Then he goes back into that, when he goes back into that high-end talk about, about physics and all that stuff, he's just making it so it's, okay, that is a jumbling thing where it sort of mixes stuff up, so then it comes back out, so you will trust what he's saying and believe he's smarter than you, but you just got to trust him on this. I know what that looks like. I see that all the time, because someone who thinks they're really smart and they try to throw in all this jargon, like the same thing you were saying earlier, Greg. All this stuff going on, but it really doesn't mean much. And like you're saying, Mark, there's not a lot of depth to it, but it sounds like a whole lot's going on there. If you're going to be trying to get something across to the masses, you could do that and be okay, because there are a whole lot of people out there that aren't the smartest people in the wide world, and then there's that bunch of people up here who are pretty smart, but there's more that aren't than that are. So when it comes to accepting information as a whole, as an entire group, it's more likely to be accepted by it, since there are more people that would accept it in that group than wouldn't accept it. I'm trying not to give away my ending. And we're still seeing a lot of micro expressions of fear and anxiety. So this is getting as horrifically boring as this is. It's excruciating. It's really interesting and fascinating as far as facial expressions go, if you're into micro expressions. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, this is so annoying. So here's my gut instinct on this, because I sit day after day in a lot of rooms with analysts, or on video with analysts. I listen to a lot of analysts. And the moment you get somebody like this in the room is the moment where you send a message and you go, get this one out. Like, this is literally a waste of our space-time continuum. So it's, just an utter waste of time from moment one. I was told, he said, utter hearsay. From moment one, he'd just gone, hearsay. All right, get him out of the room. No point in this. 0 point in this. Get him out of the room. He's expending so much energy on concern, on lip compression, on eye blocks, on, pushing forward with the lips, and then, to your point, Chase, tightening out the mouth into a full Wallace and Gromit fear. And I'm not sure it's because exactly that, Chase. I think those are mugged expressions. I think those are acted expressions. And could be due to neurotype. Could be because I think there could be something there in his neurology that means he maybe doesn't know the feelings but has seen them and wants to display them, or could be just a simple act of I need to put a lot of energy into this to show people just how complex and concerning and like, you know, incredible, and believe it or not, this is. Well, no, but even if I wanted to believe it, I can't listen to you as an analyst. There is nothing that you're doing right now that would make me give up my time to watch anymore. So I totally understand. If that is his demeanor, how he could be given clearances and nobody wants to talk to him. Nobody wants to go, well, you got the clearance, but and let's open up the door, you know, let's let you behind the real door. I wouldn't let him through my front door. What a total pedant. You know, what a total waste of time he is. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Let's have another video.
Dang, Mark.
That's a good one, Mark.
What an annoying this guy. What an annoying. You wouldn't last 5 minutes.
One of those tape replays. What can you tell me about these craft, these technologies? Why do you know it's exotic?
Based on the very specific properties that I was briefed on, you know, isotopic ratios that would have to be engineered for it to be at those levels, but also just extremely strange, heavy atomic metal, you know, high up in the periodic table arrangements that we don't understand, you know, what the emergent properties are, but there's just a very strange mix of elements.
So you're absolutely sure that the materials that these craft are made of are clearly not of this earth?
Yeah, they're sophisticatedly engineered, certainly not by humans.
And while Grush says the US has gleaned some insight from these materials for military use, so much more could be done if academia and the private sector had access.
It's totally nuts that humanity as a whole, especially, you know, the U.S. citizenry as a whole, they're not even benefiting from broad research on this to solve, you know, propulsion, energy issues, novel material science that can improve people's quality of life. It's just totally nuts how it's been protected and inhibits progress.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
In 1947, an object crashed in the New Mexico desert near the town of Roswell. The Air Force recovered material described as metallic and rubbery, though the government changed its story as to what it was, calling it a flying disc at first, then a weather or spy balloon. It just went ridiculous to me that the US Air Force had changed its story.
Yeah, and they added additional elements over time and tried to conflate additional programs to explain some of the events.
Why are these things crashing?
Yeah, you know, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up. You know, as advanced as, you know, we are, you know, as humans, right? You know, planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, you know, meet an unfortunate operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air Force published this report in 1994 to put the issue to rest once and for all. Grush has read it.
That analysis I did was a total hack job, and even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash test dummies and then mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things, and they concocted that whole report just to disinform. So
when there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
What do you got? There is one thing, and pretty much one thing only here, that really shook me the moment I saw it. Most of this clip, behavior that is suggestive here is just based on his baseline in this context of what I think is probably truth-telling. Mostly kind of fluid, weird cadence, which is his baseline. Tone, pitch, volume, pretty semi-normal. Still has the normal weird spikes in his tone that might point to acting or being on stage. And it all goes well until the end. The precise moment. And it's at the final, like, quarter second of this clip when he says the word disinform. He displays the most powerful lip compression here with a really strong chin boss movement. This is this muscle right here. We associate this muscle, which is like a little triangle muscle in the chin. It's called the mentalis, with grief or, quite often, shame. And this is well researched by people like Dr. Paul Ekman, have developed a lot of our modern understanding, and even Paul Ekman based a ton of his work on this Swedish anatomist guy named Carl Herman Yortshow. So we're seeing some kind of grief or shame here, absolutely. But the tricky part is that we can't see the whole body. Distinguishing between grief and shame is difficult, but I think there is some kind of grief here. Shame, you're a little bit more likely, slightly more likely to see the chin drop when shame happens, as opposed to grief. That's all I got for this one here. But there's something around that word, disinform. Mark?
Yeah, interesting you mentioned that. We don't confer before this. We don't compare notes. We just get into this. My note here is now he's letting us know what to look out for in a disinformation story. It tells us that you should look out for conflation, concoction, and imagination. Conflation, melding one thing with another. Concoction, just the creation of something out of forms that are already there, mixed together. And then imagination, something out of nowhere. And if you have the analytic skill, you can deduce that it's when disinformation is going on. He says, look, with the analytic skill, you'd be able to see if this were disinformation, and tells us exactly what to look out for. There's one other thing that comes across here, which is just because you are intelligent does not mean that some percentage reach an unfortunate operational conclusion. And I think that is apropos for him. Just because you are, and I've seen it time and time again, just because you're super smart and you're an analyst and you have clearance, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to crash the craft. Doesn't mean that you're not going to reach a conclusion that is not factual or reasonable or what the real conclusion should be. So let's never think that just because this guy, may have awards, may have been given clearances, may well have got scholarships, and, I've met a lot of intelligent people who can't be allowed to cross the road. So watch out for that. Just because he's smart doesn't mean he can't make horrific mistakes. That's all I got on that one. Scott, what do you got?
All right. The expression of fear after yeah, and there's one before someone landed. So, and the fear he's showing is when he goes like that, his lips come out like that. It's a version of fear. So we're not seeing the frozen part of it. We're seeing these little micro expressions of fear at the oddest times. And I agree with you, Chase. We're seeing some really interesting fear, anger, grief. There's a whole lot going on here, and I think it's because he may be saying one thing, but he's been told not to say this because he doesn't feel the thing he's saying. He feels something else. So maybe that's part of it. And then you've got the part where maybe he does know a whole lot about something where somebody got killed or something. But then again, like Gregor says, maybe he's using that as the example so he can refer back to that, but couch it as aliens or whatever it is that crashed or where the pilots are from, that type of thing. But then when he talks about the crash, he's got this lilting in his voice. And then he reroutes away from that. He's great at staying away from the answers, from answering the questions he's being asked. I know I bring these kind of things up. It comes from when I was in the music business, and from engineering tons of records and producing tons of records. I can hear things that pop out at me, and this is what I thought was fascinating. I thought this is where you were going, Chase. But when he says, when he's talking about the crash, he said the analysis they did was a total hack job. So what happened was, they cut when he said what the analysis they did, and then he said it was a total hack job. There's space between there. Something else happened because, and enough time, enough space to make the emotions change in there. You can hear the edit. You can hear them stick did and it together. They did a good job. I'm not complaining about whoever edited that if you're watching. He did a fantastic job of it. However, you can still hear that edit there. You did cover it with the video, so we couldn't see his mouth or see the change in the video. But if you had crossfade those a little bit tighter, it wouldn't have been there. But listen to how the voice sounds normal when it goes to an entirely different emotion. It's quieter. The voice is really strong up here. The volume is good. The cadence is cut right along at a pretty good speed. And then the tone changes and it gets lower. And his delivery is a little softer and his cadence slows down. So in that one sentence there, we're hearing them edit it. What it means, I don't know. It may not mean anything. It may just have been editing for time. But I don't think they should have done that. Or they had a problem, a glitch somewhere in the video or something. But there's that to put in there. So that makes me a little bit suspicious. I don't think that News Nation is in with this guy. I'm just saying the editing there was a little iffy. Great job, but it's still, you can tell something's up there. Chase, what do you got? Or is it great? I knew it was
Yeah, so his yells increase a lot here, and his tone has changed. If you hear the way he's talking, his tone has increased dramatically. I'm going to add one more thing. Chase, we saw the same thing. This compression with the chin boss, I don't think it is grief. I think it is containment. Look at his upper face. His upper face looks amused when he's talking, but his lower face doesn't match. Try, everybody sitting there, start smiling and try to control it, and watch what happens. You're going to bring up your chin boss. While your chin boss is not something you automatically control, when you're trying to think of ways to control things, watch what happens. And he says it as at a key point, at disinformation. That is an important data point, in my opinion, from everything we've seen to now.
One of those tape replays. In 1947, an object crashed in the New Mexico desert near the town of Roswell. The Air Force recovered material described as metallic and rubbery.
It's metallic and rubbery.
Changed its story as to what it was, calling it a flying disc at first, then a weather or spy balloon.
It just seems ridiculous to me that the US Air Force had changed its story.
Yeah, and they added additional elements over time and tried to conflate additional programs to explain some of the events.
Why are these things crashing?
Yeah, some are landed, some are crashed, and I think that's an interesting discussion that's come up. As advanced as we are, as humans, right? Planes crash, cars crash. Just because you're some advanced sentience that has advanced technology doesn't mean some small percentage of your, I'll use the Air Force term like sorties, meet an unfortunate and operational conclusion, as we might want to say.
Most people would tell you the Roswell incident has been thoroughly debunked. In fact, the Air Force published this report in 1994 to put the issue to rest once and for all. Grush has read it.
That analysis they did was a total hack job, and even anybody with analytical skills, if you read it, you can deduce that they're conflating multiple situations with crash test dummies and mogul balloons, and they're just saying that the townsfolk who personally witnessed it were totally imagining things, and they concocted that whole report just to disinform.
So the reason for the secrecy exactly is what?
Feudalistic dominance, who can have both asymmetric technology for, it seems like, just fueling the war machine.
Grush says that through the 50s and 60s, encounters with the NHI continued, as did the cover-up. One incident in 1967, about which multiple Air Force veterans have gone public, involved UAPs tampering with the nuclear missiles at Malmstrom Air Base in Montana. They saw a craft, appearing to be intelligently controlled, hovered over a nuclear weapons silo and shut down 10 nuclear ICBM missiles.
It certainly looks like they want to understand how far we've advanced in our nuclear fizzle kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering, could be ISR probing.
Meanwhile, Grush says the crash retrieval program continued. And while he won't reveal where the downed craft are stored, he does say that the people working with the technology have been putting themselves at risk.
You know, a lot of them, were injured looking at some of this stuff. You could imagine the nuclear, radiological, and biological risk to looking at an unknown, and a lot of them have literally suffered physically because of their service.
But as we know, anyone who's come forward claiming non-human intelligence is behind these incidents has been dismissed as delusional or deliberately deceitful. If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
There's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
This is why I switched to Shopify. I tried 3 other platforms prior to Shopify, and I remember my breaking point was when I would try to make one little change and my entire site would go down. What are you waiting for? Start your free trial with Shopify today.
Mark, what do you got?
So he says, you can imagine the nuclear radiological risk. Yeah, I can imagine it. I mean, that's all we're doing, isn't it? We're just imagining it. We're just making stuff up. And yeah, I mean, I can imagine it because, I've seen all of those videos about, nuclear stuff going on, and I understand, I went to school. We studied all of that stuff. I've had nuclear material a distance from me, so I understand the risks of that. However, I thought we were talking about interdimensional travel, and so now what you're not explaining to me is how this kind of quantum interdimensional travel does have a nuclear radiological risk. Now it may do it may not essentially. But if you're so good at the science, just explain it, because you're explaining this new idea with some old ideas that we'd understand, but you're not filling in the gap in between. And he says, it's beyond our comprehension. Well, why are you going for old style analogies if this is beyond our comprehension? Just say it can't be understood. There's no way that I can explain this to you, and I'm not going to do it with any old ideas that we have about physics, because they just won't fit. It just doesn't make any sense to any of that. Now,
MT, what's up, my boy? I got your thing on watching you, man.
Central message, which
I didn't know you got off.
There's some change. There's something going on here, and that central message is the U.S. government is extremely unethical and immoral.
What's up, y'all?
So for me, this is the central agenda of what he now wants to put forward. The U.S.
I'm sitting here sniping
and immoral.
Invincibles. I got you on my phone. I didn't know you got off. I went to listening to this alien shit. Started smoking this shit. I went to watching the aliens.
Government, U.S. government, some bigger entity, which is the opposite of what I am.
Demon, what's up, Damon?
Story, that idea, trots along. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right.
MT, you got some good snipes?
I've seen lots of head movement. He doesn't know, really, the reason why they're doing
Nah, don't do MT like that, Kentucky.
And keep in mind,
Why you doing MT like that?
everything he said.
I hope so, Hobbs. I need one.
That hasn't been okay. He even says that. He says, I can't talk about this.
Hey, I appreciate that, MT. MT, you ain't getting no good snipes? I just came back and cut you on my phone, and I look at you done got off.
Say this about that, don't say something else. So these things he's telling us aren't really big secrets.
Oh, damn. Yeah, I seen Jay Grimes get that fucking in-game Durant.
Back to what you're talking about as well, Mark. He says nuclear, not nuclear. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a big deal. A lot of people say nuclear. Yeah, a lot of people do. We talked about that group here and this group here. He's supposed to be in this group here, which is a whole lot smaller than this group down here. And he says nuclear? I'm from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. That's where he designed the nuclear.
Well, if he a son, he a good kid.
When I was in school, he said nuclear. People would make fun of you because people from out of town came in and did say nuclear every now and then. And we laugh at it and make fun of it. And to this day, we still make fun of it when I see it. Or, you know, when we see it, excuse me. So that doesn't happen.
You raised a good kid, man. However,
He's into nuclear power
MT, all y'all dads, hell yeah.
Radiologist. He's the head of the radiology department here in Oak Ridge, chief of staff at the hospital. Never once did he say nuclear. I know George Bush said nuclear. President Bush said nuclear. So what? You know.
Hey, I appreciate all y'all, man. But MT real, man. MT good people.
Etc. Etc. He's so smart. Why is he saying this? Why does he say nuclear and etc.
You know, Kentucky, everybody can have their own opinion about somebody, but my own personal experience with him myself, he a great guy.
Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, not as much hate as you have. So, he's not fishing. Look, he's asked another conjecture question. He's in his wheelhouse. He does what he does.
Levine, what's good?
He has an eye lock and starts moving around and talking. Anytime, if I ask you, Chase, what do you think those UFOs are doing over there?
Get wrecked, open the pack.
Anybody can make up something. And by the way, when you go to DOD to get clearance,
sub up, get wrecked. Help me get them four. I'm 4 away. Help me get to 100, man, so I can get me invincible.
Don't divulge classified information. Blah 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 blah. They'll probably tell you some, decorum ways to behave, but they're not going to vet every question.
Make sure y'all youngins tell your dad Happy Father's Day, man.
He does thumbs up when he's talking about this from folded hands. Joe Navarro says when your hands are steepled and you raise your thumbs, it's confidence. Well, he is confident in this thing because he just asked a question. We still don't hear a single.
Look at him. Thanks, son.
Broad terms, a lot of them have suffered physically. Well, like how? They cut the thumbs off.
Levine's your grandson?
Something.
Damn.
If I had seen all this, I would ask just simple questions. But we don't get those. So we don't really know.
Grandson?
That's all it is. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. And I will tell you, the information is very compartmentalized. So when I first got my clearance, I was probably 21. I got on the computer, and there's a thing inside part of the internet called Intel Link. And it's like Google for stuff.
I'm about to sell this goddamn what's the name, man.
It's not just like you can get access to whatever you want.
Hey, I appreciate you, MT.
So when he's talking about people being injured, look at when
thanks, Levine.
Or looking at stuff.
Appreciate that, Kentucky, man.
There's some genuine,
yeah, because I'm ready that. I'm about to sell this Ben, though, man. I'm about to sell Ben before Thursday. Thursday for that draft come out.
He feels something about this. And he also makes the most exaggerated facial expression of this whole interview.
What has Ben been selling for? What Ben been going for lately?
Channeling a memory of, if he's being deceptive, he could be channeling a memory of people getting hurt. If it's not true, this might be a talking point that he's been made to feel.
Appreciate that.
And when he says ISR probing in here, it's not some alien probe technique. ISR is military speak for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. So there's that usage of sophisticated game when he's talking about this. He uses to describe positive things.
Nothing. They sell the hell out of that being Bob McAdoo trash.
Just so you know, I think that like maybe the 30,000 hour mark in this field a long time ago. This is something you don't see happen on accident. People don't make good mistakes.
Hey, all right, Hobbs, I appreciate you.
Powerfully used to describe positive things when they use something negative.
Were these packs empty?
I'll just leave it at that.
These packs trash.
My first clearance. Well, I went to the binders.
I got KD already.
Yeah, a long time ago. But you, I mean,
We just gonna snipe him.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was after computers came along. Of course, I was
Just snipe season, baby.
And yeah, you're dead on. People think they're going to go in. You might have the highest clearance level on Earth and go in and try to look up the program he's talking about. Nothing. Yeah, nothing. Because you need access and you need to be right onto the project and all that kind of stuff.
One of those tape replays.
Snipe seas.
The 2023 Kia Sorento. It's the perfect blend.
What's wrong, MT?
Style, comfort, and adventure. You can handle anything with Sorento.
Where you got KD?
Storage options. Stop in and
Big dub.
summer sales event. Grab a fantastic offer and start your family.
Where'd you get him out of? You just, that was a nice pull. You just sniped him?
Get to your goals faster. SoFi, get your money right.
Tape replays.
That's nice.
Exactly is
That's the filter I need to get on.
feudalistic dominance, who can have both asymmetric technology for, it seems like just fueling the war machine.
Rush says that through the 50s and 60s, encounters with the NHI continued.
You might have did, MC.
One incident in 1967, about which multiple Air Force veterans...
Nah, MT ain't capping, man.
UAPs tampering with the nuclear missiles...
MT got him.
Air base in Montana.
They saw a craft appearing to be intelligently controlled, hovered over
I believe you, MT. I think you got him.
and shut down 10.
I done went over here to end game because I believe you so hard.
It really looks like they want to understand how far we've advanced in our nuclear fizzle kind of technologies at the very least. I mean, it looks like preparatory probing activity. It might be innocent kind of scientific gathering.
Damn, you had me crunk, MT. I thought I was finna get the mug. I done changed up my setting trying to grab him.
Where the downed craft are stored, he does say that the people working with the technology have been putting themselves at risk.
You know, a lot of them,
Pause.
looking at some of this stuff, you could imagine the nuclear, radiological, biological risk to looking at an unknown, and a lot of them have literally suffered.
In-game. Oh, give me a KD. Oh, in-game.
But as we know, anyone who's come forward...
If I could snipe an in-game right here, that'd be big.
...is behind these incidents has been dismissed as delusional or deliberately deceitful.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades. Yeah, there's a sophisticated...
Damn, MT. I thought you had one. Shit.
U.S. populace, which is extremely...
I was in a fire video.
There's an industry of debunkers out there on the web who say, oh, they've got this all wrong, it's a jitter at a distance, and the aircraft's turning. Give me an answer on that.
I had some optical engineering experts look at that, and the Raytheon AT-FLIR system, based on the pixel saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon. It's quite strange, but it's not as simple as a jet.
He has even stronger opinions about this UAP, now known to history as the Tic Tac, shot in 2004 in the Pacific by aviators off the USS Nimitz.
And the Tic Tac. Truly anomalous.
Absolutely. Yeah, I ain't with that funny stuff.
Technical vehicle, physical, and that's absolutely something that we can make.
Not of this world.
Most likely, yeah. All right. I don't have much, so I don't first answer.
I'm doing no kissing, man.
He says they're not of this world.
Their lips gonna break out. They're gonna get a big bump on their lip, keep running around kissing people.
From before, he said, yeah, they're most likely from here in another dimension. But he said they're not from this world. He says, yeah.
COVID out here. You You can't be out here kissing.
Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so he says before that, absolutely something that we did not make. Absolutely something that we did not make. The interviewer says, not of this world. Well, a good answer would be exactly, not of this world, or yeah, not of this world, or no, not of this world. And he says, most likely, yes. Well, that's being too soon, isn't it? So annoying. What an annoying idiot. Anyway, he won't set his terms, and he won't discuss anything under anybody's terms. So he's annoying.
Well, guess what?
Can't debate him.
That means you can't be out here kissing,
He will not define anything.
catching colds and shit.
Define something. He just moves outside of that definition, and so you can't pin him down. That's why I would immediately send him out of the room, either to have a think about himself, to go home, or that somebody might put him in a small box for a bit and then bring him back again when he's been made a little more uncomfortable with the situation. The whole thing's pointless because he's just this slippery squid, like one of those little alien things, alien squids that like just slippery, eelish squid. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Well, Mark, I think part of the reason you feel like he's a squid is because he's hiding something. Now, what he's hiding, I can't tell you, but I recognize.
Hey man, you get out of here with that little funny stuff. I ain't young, man. I don't play that.
And that what I said is glass pane. They can appear to be as.
I don't even need you in here. I'm a block you. I'm gonna make you invisible in the stream.
You got to break that glass. You got to get through it. You got to figure out how to explain the glass. Yeah, and what I mean by glass is you can be sitting across from me and answering every question I ask, and apparently helping me, and still lying through your teeth simply by avoiding.
Yeah, I might not have many streamers, but I don't play the funny stuff. I'm grown. I ain't a kid. You gotta grow up, man. I'll go on, get in somebody else's stream and do that weird stuff. It's a million other innocent people that like that weird stuff. Just go on to their stream and weird out. You can just weird out all you want to all day. No worries. They like that stuff. You keep being too weird, you're gonna get yourself in a lot of trouble. You're gonna be weird, the wrong person, then you're gonna have to register as a sex offender. You ain't gonna be able to live by no schools or nothing.
So we see some of that. When he says we didn't make this, he closes his eyes. That's when I would crawl on him and ask him questions about how do you know that. And he withdraws his lower jaw and his chin, which we usually associate with protecting self and that kind of thing.
Oh, I don't joke. Don't joke like that, man. How old are you? I know you might be young, but I'm grown. I got a daughter 19. I don't joke. Not with funny stuff. If you joke, you just might be with that. I ain't got nothing against it, but I ain't with it. If you joke about it, you might be thinking about it. That's on your mind. Real stand-up people don't joke like that. That ain't how my dad raised me. And that ain't how I raised my son. He don't play with Barbie dolls or nothing like that. You feel me? I got daughters, they got Barbie dolls. They got all the girl stuff they want. He can't play with it. Even if it's just playing. He's not going to enjoy that.
I would venture to say, when you left, it was just like that. If you got covered, if you're protected by that whistleblower, it's one thing. But all your friends behind the screen who told you that information, now there's a problem for them. So that might be part of the reason why I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here.
No, you good, my boy. I just be telling people because a lot of people be new to my stream, though. So, you know, but some people, that's just how you raise. It's all how you raise. Some people joke, and it's cool. It's a lot of streamers. No, you ain't got to be sorry, bro. I'm not. There's streamers out there that joke and like to do that stuff and play those games. You know, some people that don't. I just don't indulge in that. I just tell everybody, hey, I'm cool. I like to hang out.
During the interview, very covertly, and try to just get more info that way. But I want you to just pay.
But you don't. I don't joke like on sexuality things and stuff like that. That's too. It's real sensitive out here in that world. It's cancel culture. You know, you gotta let people be them.
Now listen to the video again. He's providing information that anyone, a 12-year-old who has watched YouTube could provide this information. He describes the flying saucer, whatever that thing is.
Clyde, what it do, baby?
Something that's not a jet, and might be.
You been asleep all day, Clyde?
That's quite strange. He describes the.
I appreciate y'all still coming through, though, man.
Anomalous. Something we didn't make. Typical. Most likely.
Who y'all think gonna be this #1 pick Thursday?
Just take a minute to process all that with his knowledge and insider information on this entire program that he's worked for, allegedly.
Y'all think it's gonna be that tall?
Sounds like ChatGPT version 2.
Them blinkers.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
Getting you some Z's in, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. Gotta get your rest. Gotta get your sleep in, baby.
Industry of debunkers, and they're on the wing, who say, oh, they've got this all wrong, it's a jet exhaust at a distance, and the aircraft's turning. Give me an answer on that.
I had some optical engineering experts look at that, and the Raytheon 18 theater system.
Gotta get your sleep in.
Saturation and apparent size. It's certainly something that's not a jet. It might be some kind of natural phenomenon. It's quite strange, but it's not
chill.
as simple.
That's all we can be, man.
He has even stronger opinions about
Chill is what it is.
Now known
Chilling.
history as the Tic Tac, shot in 2004 in the Pacific by aviators off the USS Nimitz. And the Tic Tac.
Truly anomalous. Absolutely.
Chilling and chilling.
Technical vehicle, physical, and that's absolutely something that we didn't make.
Not of this world.
Most likely. Yeah.
No, heck no.
There are many videos that are totally fair to release.
Hey, I appreciate that, Levine.
The declassification process, and I find it very concerning from a transparency perspective. That
I just started this.
Is declassified with those 3 famous videos. There are.
I've been having my channel forever, but I never get on and really post it. Like I said, I used to do Twitch a lot.
Credible witnesses who could testify to Congress about spacecraft. Big spacecraft.
Gangsta Edis, what's up, my boy?
Very large, yeah. Like a football field kind of size.
Our girl.
I remember interviewing these personnel. I'm like, these people are lying to me? They're having a psychotic break? Or this is some crazy but true stuff that's happening, and I have no good explanation that's prosaic at all for this, because this is not explainable by,
What's good with you?
St. Elmo's fire, ball lightning, etc., etc. I mean, this is like tangible technical craft or seeing.
Y'all know it's crazy. I haven't even been following this college basketball, so I really don't even know who the draft picks is.
A program Rush says that's included at least one private aerospace company that is storing alien craft.
Yeah, it ain't one of them years. Like I don't know who coming out. I know that big tall dude Victor, but I don't know nobody else. Who supposed to be 1, 2? Who supposed to be 2, 3? I can't even tell you the top 5 boys coming out.
To clear defense contractor to do some analysis, which I find highly unethical. You have basically a sole source.
That's crazy.
And you allow certain.
Yeah, I know about him.
Elements to look at this, develop a potential insight. And
I just was hearing something about Scoot today.
Yeah, totally.
Today I was hearing somebody talk about Scoot, but I don't even know who that is.
Okay, I've got concern.
I gotta watch some of his highlights when I get off the stream. I'm gonna check some of his highlights out.
One-sided frown from him and disgust around the government is not transparent. So there seems to be this building up.
I appreciate it, Levine.
Immoral. The government is not transparent. He himself.
You see, this ain't one of them years like Zion. And I know it was Zion or Melo when they was coming up.
Any information out of him that we couldn't have just got out of UFO magazine from the 90s.
I know that Jit Mikey Williams messed up.
I don't want to name specific
I guess supposed to be good.
Elements. Oh, go on. Name them. Be transparent. Why not? Go on. Give it a go. Go and tell. Like,
I think really the last high school Jedi I watched was that Jalen Green.
Maybe you don't want to. Could you though? Might you? Should you? No, I
Either you don't know who they are, or there could be
No trolls.
around that, maybe. Big breath change there on. Overall, the government has been the custodian of this. So again, he really wants to mark out this government.
Oh, you can't. People just do that naturally. That's a natural thing. Anything you do. No matter what you go, where you go, what stream, especially you stream platform, you can hold a radio station, you're going to get trollers. Comedians, you get hecklers and trolls. It's just part of life. Like we just saying, some people, that's just how they get by getting, I don't know. They get off, they ain't got nothing to do but get on and just troll. That comforts them and gets them through their day. I don't know how.
My guess is you would have a sense of wonder and or fear. So more so, wonder, fear.
But most people that troll heavy ain't got a life. They ain't got a friend. That's why they get on here and troll. They ain't got friends to go hang out with or play the game with and shit. They troll. They character is not likable. You gotta treat your life like your character. You gotta make your character likable.
More information, more details. I don't get it. It's all his motivation for me is all in the wrong place for this.
Your character ain't likable, then what? The girls ain't gonna like you. Dudes really ain't like you.
But I say this knowing that this entire clip is for now, they doesn't.
Cause you a troll sometimes.
Except for a giant crap somebody else saw.
So you likable to an extent, but then when you troll too much, you gonna run some people off.
He never mentioned anything specific about the craft or if the government.
Some girls gonna like you, most ain't.
That's what he's talking about. But he isn't at all. He could be talking about captured craft from enemy forces and allowing them to be studied by these big aerospace companies, which we may or may not be talking about, which I can't mention nor put the lucky ones. This clip is about.
Cause you gonna meet a girl troll. You get that girl troll in your life, oh, she gonna fuck your life up.
If you're a whistleblower, you should be able to name some names, and something's really off in his desire to protect these companies and government and all this.
Levain, that girl, yeah, you think you troll when that girl get a hold of you and she the troll, she gonna ruin. You think you doing all the trolling you want?
That may be the case. That would be a thing that say, do not mention X, Y, or Z. Name a company first. It might be his opinion.
All that trolling you did, you gonna hit that good, good 30. Kid, 2 kids in. All that trolling. The trolling gonna get a hold of you, man. You gonna think about it. God, why is my life like this? All that bad mojo you put out there, man. Trolling. Karma, man. What you put out, what you dish out, you get it back. But you gonna get it back when you don't want it. Be rough.
Because listen to that change in tone of his voice, in pitch of his voice, when he breaks eye contact. Something's up. Fight or flight causes our voices to get tighter, our vocal cords to get more restrained, and that causes us to make a different sound. I think the crux is something, and then he goes into the whole ethically thing, and then he goes.
He talking about, yeah, that's why you don't drink Mad Dog after tomorrow. Oh yeah. You good into it right now?
Why he's doing whistleblower, we don't know, but there's a whole lot more emphasis in that sense than anything we've heard to now. So think about the crux of something.
I'm about to Baker act you, man. You better stop drinking that Mad Dog. I'm worried about you. Don't drink. Drinking ain't cool, man. Just smoke. Drinking ain't good for your kidneys, man. It ain't good to drink and drive. You run around smelling like liquor and cigarettes.
That's not where we're at. This is a half entertainment, half information kind of an interview. Scott, what do you got?
Hell, what's up, Griff? What it do, baby? Hell no, Griff. I ain't seen nothing but a goddamn research auction, whatever the hell it be telling you. This search can't be found. That's all I've been getting. I ain't sniped nothing never. I seen a LaMelo Ball. I ain't even get him. I'm beginning to think sniping just like a form of meditation. It will be one day. Time's changing, man. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. You ever heard the old saying, nothing's new up under the sun? It was legal before everywhere. You gotta just study history. It's a lot of ups and downs. Everything recirculate around. See how we going through this stage now? Like it's starting to be legal everywhere and all cool. We're going to go through another stage in life. We might not be alive for it, but they're going to ban it again. It ain't going to be allowed no more. Or they're going to be on something new where it's going to be outdated. Ain't nobody going to be smoking that no more. They're going to have a new drug. You're going to be able to just type in the computer or some shit how high you want to be or how drunk you want to be. They're going to put a chip in you. You got to get that chip in you. Once you get that chip inside you, you're going to be able to just sign up with your Apple Watch, with your Apple account, purchase with your Apple.
At the center of it all, the crash retrieval program the government has never publicly acknowledged. A program, Rush says, that's included at least one private aerospace company.
Yeah, the computer chip inside you got you. You can type it in. You can type it in. One bottle. Consume one bottle. You can get it how you want it. Chill it with ice. A hint of this. A hint of what do they put in the coffee? Hazelnut and cream. You can just type in, get me shit face, and you just get so drunk. Get so drunk, your pants fall down, and you fall over in the corner.
Unfortunately, some elected officials were not brought in. Only a few weeks ago, 19th of April, the head of the Pentagon's UAP
It's immediate reaction. As soon as you type shit face in and enter, you gonna fucking stumble over into it. Don't get that chip, man. Don't get the mark of the beast. That's what they said. Don't put that chip in you, Clyde. TP, don't do it. Don't y'all get the chip, man. Don't get the mark of the beast. Do not get the chip. Keep your money. Save your money. Buy gold bars or something. Bury your money, man. Bury your money in your grandma's yard, man. Vacuum seal it up and stash your cash.
Investigative discoveries I did. It's totally crazy if he doesn't. So the implication here is that the head of the very body that Congress has ordered
TP gonna get that damn chip,
the
man.
American public the truth about UAPs is possibly misleading the American public. Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Grandma buried that.
They've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping
Yes, we all got people like that in the family.
Yeah, so always the easiest cop-out for any of us who work in the intelligence field is...
No, it ain't bad. It's life.
Easy way to get it out. So you're always going to do that. And then he goes,
It's you know, you gotta just think. You got a lot of ancestors and people you don't know where they buried at.
I care about body language a little bit. I care about why more than body language altogether.
You know, your grandma got a mom and a dad, and they got a mom and a dad, and you know, so on and so on.
After he says they're out in the cold,
There's a lot of people in your family you don't know.
You've been read onto everything on earth. However, listen to the change in his pitch.
Remember I was just saying how time changed? Ain't nothing new in the sun. It's buildings over graveyards and roads and stuff buried over people.
You know, she would have said, "It's got my phone number." It's been very quick and very aggressive. That sounds bitter.
You know, your house you living in now might be on one. Might be on an old graveyard, man. Yeah. Pots and pans rattling at night. They ain't gonna hurt you, man. They don't want you. You done made it this bad. They been with you this whole time. Them ghosts don't want to bother you.
That's interesting. There is everything I needed to know. There's a problem here. We got a problem. This guy's got a problem about how he's been treated somewhere. I don't care.
Things ain't gonna bother you. Get scared.
He's got a problem.
Yeah. You better cut the lights on. Cut the lights on, man. That's why.
Scott, what do you got? Explain being read in. Yeah, so read in, all that means is I got a project or I've got a...
You youngins, y'all gotta do something with y'all time, man. You better study your land, man. Do the history on your house or something. Go back, see the history of your land. What was there? See what was in that area in like the 1900s or something, man.
You get up to top secret SCI access. You got to be read into that. So it depends on where you're at and which program you're working on. You have to have a need to know.
You could be on a sheep graveyard, man. You might be hearing a lot of sheep and animal sounds at night. But now you know why.
So that it doesn't get to be easy to...
Your house is built on an old sheep farm.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
Here again, mine's gonna be...
You and
But he doesn't answer any questions he's asked. He's asked 3 times.
Clyde, you stay in Montana, don't you?
Like, for example, last one he says, do you think the American people are being lied to?
Where the hell you stay at, Clyde?
They've been lied to over and over for years now.
Where the hell you stay at? Where y'all got sheep at?
Yes or no answer. You know?
Y'all got sheep in Georgia? The hell y'all doing with sheep in Georgia?
Y'all touched on this. One indicator that I think I would put on the extremely reliable list, and keep in mind, baseline and context play a major role in whether this can be factored in or not. But this is someone's level of comfort with calling somebody else a liar. From politicians to criminals and maybe intelligence detainees. When somebody's lacking the willingness to call somebody else's story a lie,
You ain't got no deer now.
severely concerning for me.
You might got an alligator in bed. Y'all ain't got no damn deer.
A fear of reciprocal accusation.
You ain't never seen no damn deer.
Worried about their own deception, they'll be less likely to call somebody else a liar for fear of the accusations and the attention that it can bring onto their story. There's an exception here, though.
You ain't got no damn deer.
If we look at the willingness to call someone a liar on a spectrum here, Rush, or this guy here, David, I think, gets pretty close.
That's probably you probably seen a big ass dog or something.
With this vocal click
Fucking raccoon. Talking about a damn deer. They ain't had the antlers and everything. You ain't seen no deer, man.
Openly calls it crazy if the same conclusion isn't reached if they look at the same stuff. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I put him on almost a 7 here.
You ain't seen a 10-pointer, man.
Dr. Kirkpatrick, a liar. So in essence, this is
Big ass deer with the horns, 10-pointers. You ain't seen that. You ain't. That's only up there in Michigan and shit, man. You ain't in the great wilderness up there. You ain't staying around Canada.
Exactly what's been said, but yes would be a good answer to. Do you think they've been lied to? The US people. Do you think they've been lied to? Yes or no? And it's really specific.
Now you got sheep and deer. Clyde, you better get off that goddamn Mad Dog. Chat, y'all hear this dude? Tell me you seeing deer. Clyde ain't seeing no deer.
For the US government. Well, so what's that agenda about? It may well be true, but why you should...
Clyde stay in Atlanta, down in the big city, right in the middle of Atlanta.
And Greg, to your point, he could have called me. He has my phone number. What I have here is slighted lover. Slighted lover. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just bullshitting with you. I'm just bullshitting with you, Clyde. I know. Everybody got some deer. Florida got deer. We got deer. Y'all right here by Jordan. It's the same woods, man. The Florida deer and the Georgia deer run around.
What could that be about if we're correct? What were his expectations?
I think my Florida deer is a Georgia deer. Or maybe your Georgia deer is a Florida deer. Who knows?
What's his expectations and how has that expectation been undercut? That for me is really interesting because the tonality of the scorned and slighted lover there is absolutely palpable. And I think
all the motherfuckers could be from Kentucky.
What this really might be about. I mean, there could be a number of layers.
It might not even be Florida, Georgia deer. There might be Kentucky deer. Just migrated on over.
Craft from other dimensions. That there's some way more human, layers about the very basics of feeling respected and loved and having, a place.
So you ain't ever seen no deer?
There, I'm done. Let's have another.
Now, ain't too many people seen no moose. Unless y'all had been up there. You gotta be up there in that damn climate. My damn nose is changing.
Everything over and hit the ground running. I was easily able to migrate my products and all of my customer information over. We would not be able to go on the road without a platform.
Well, I can't say ain't too many people seen a moose because there's a lot of motherfuckers around there that live with them.
The problem you've got is there have been categorical denials.
You move to Alaska and stuff, you gonna see them motherfuckers. Go there to Canada and Alaska, you gonna see a damn moose.
Some elected officials were not brought in. Only a few weeks ago, 19th of April, the head of the Pentagon's UAP investigations program...
I seen the moose before.
...told Congress Arrow, that's the Pentagon's UFO investigation body, has found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics.
While a large number of cases in
Just gotta travel. You gotta go sightseeing, man. Get out there and sightsee. See what's out there.
Associated with those cases.
Was that a lie? Well, I know Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. I've known him for about 8 years, and I expressed some concerns to Dr. Kirkpatrick about a year ago.
What time it is?
What I was starting to uncover, and
I gotta put that bin up for sale at 12 o'clock tonight.
He does the right thing. He should be able to make the same investigative discoveries.
I'm gonna put them up for 12 hours at 12 o'clock. So you can sell at 12 o'clock. So when I get off, he'll be done sold at 12 o'clock. You know? 12 to 12.
To tell the American public the truth about UAPs is possibly misleading the American public. Do you think the American public is being lied to?
Well, they've been lied to over the years, and I'm hoping that the lies stop.
The common interpretation from some commentators is that
Mm-hmm.
there is a non-human species, and it's incredibly benevolent.
Let's get an hour and a half.
The human race.
Yeah, and I think that is the logical fallacy there is because they're advanced, they're kind. We'll never really understand full intent in that because we're not them, whatever them is or are. But I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened.
Yeah, but
Not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony. I think at least if we look at it through a humanistic lens, it does appear negative, at least to us.
I've been told that
I gotta go to my doctor tomorrow. I gotta go see the doctor tomorrow.
Defensively against non-human craft.
There have been instances, and there are certain techniques.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that would reveal certain classified operations, I was briefed by
my fucking arm is
hurting that there were malevolent events like that.
No, I'm scared. People have heard you say non-humans may well have murdered human beings.
That seems to be the case at one point, yeah.
Okay, Greg, what do you got? Yeah, so with this guy, I'm just going to say it again. Anytime he's talking about opinion, he's free-flowing. Everything's moving along smoothly. But
we ain't seen nothing.
He's a desert. Nothing. There's nothing.
Not a damn griff tonight.
His barrier, his separator, so it gives him time to move in the next thing. I do it all the time. I say, yeah, boom. And it frames what I'm about to say. In this case, it's giving him time to think. He goes back to that same style we've seen, congruent messaging, high accessing to think of what he should say. Not really internal voice this time. Roll his head as he thinks. When he talks about instances, there's no pressure at all when he starts talking about certain techniques. Look, if there's certain techniques to take down UFOs, why don't you mention them? Well, maybe that's classified. Well, maybe you say that. But certain techniques, there's no pressure, no ridicule, no approaches, nothing to go after it, so we can't really say whether he knows something or not. Then he says this whole thing, while I can't get into specifics, I was briefed by a few individuals on. Then we see that lip compression that I think is squelching a smile. In my opinion, I don't see this as credible because he's so much garbage he's covering up. But all we need is one fact to feel good about this interview. I think all four of us would feel much better if we had one.
Oh, T-Pizzle.
Yeah, one fact. Lazar gave us facts. Whether they're facts or not, it's another story.
Who should what?
I don't think with us it is, but with other people. But he had a number and told us what it
I
was.
don't know what the hell you just said, TP.
Anything. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, here's what I'd like you to do, is in your imagination, or if you have, some kind of AI machine, dress this guy up as like a surfer dude, okay? And now work out how credible is what he's saying, because it's very easy to look at this and hear what he's saying, and there he is with the pressed shirt and the khaki pants on, and the classic.
Oh, my damn chat just going crazy over there.
But hang on though, he had clearance and he seems intelligent, but if you dress him up as a surfer dude or that smash guy and listen to what he's saying, you'll go, this is nonsense. This is bonkers nonsense. There is not one thing in there that has any level of credibility to it. But stick a press shirt on somebody, some khaki pants, and say, hey, they had clearance, and now suddenly we're meant to pay attention. Well, here's what strikes me about the body language. I did pick up some body language because it got tedious after a while. And I picked up the furniture as well. He's sitting in something like a Seska Breyer chair, classic bar house from the 1920s, 1930s. Now, why would furniture be important? Why should you, as somebody who understands body language, why should you understand furniture? Well, we spend a lot of time around furniture, and knowing how different pieces of furniture act is kind
On
of...
2K24?
This is a Seska.
Yeah.
Okay, this is classic. This is the 1960s edition of it. You see, it's got bent tubular steel on it, which means to rock backwards and forwards in it as he's doing, and I want you to watch that, takes a lot of energy. In order for me to move that bent lot of effort. There is something going on in him right now. There's some pent-up energy in his core.
Might be somebody better than Dirk by the time that comes.
Backwards and forwards. I think that's very, very interesting. Were people killed by a non-human intelligence? That seems to be the case at one point, yeah. Well, I mean, that seems to be the case. Like it is or it isn't the case. Like it is or it isn't. At one point.
It's already been somebody better than Dirk. Larry Bird.
It's on or off. You're either dead or you're not dead. Okay, there's no in between. I understand the quantum mechanics you're trying to do around moving interdimensionally, but it doesn't work in our dimension. Okay, a human being gets dead or not dead. There is no in between state on that one. Oh, still super annoying. Greg, what do you got on this one? Oh, Chase.
Yeah. And in the comments, just let us know if you think that Mark
Larry wipe his ass with Dirk.
All right.
Larry would wipe his ass with Dirk.
Open source, well-known information in an even more vague, ambiguous, and what I would maybe call informationless way.
Larry 10 times better than Dirk.
This mention of there's attempts to bring down the craft. He says there have been instances. He doesn't say of what. Anyone on planet Earth, including a 1-month-old baby, can say there have been instances. And if you're 4 years old,
that is not trolling. That's real. That's facts in life. You actually think Dirk is better than Larry Bird? You trolling. You just from Texas, so you a Dirk fan. You got to stop admitting. You got to stop speaking with your heart.
When they're bringing up malevolent events, there are some.
It's like you crazy kids talking about LeBron better than Jordan.
But they look like acting. This tight lip with holding expression and maybe a little horizontal stretching. And when he says at the beginning or at the end there, that seems to be the case at one point.
You might have to go back and just redo your history. But if you're a Dirk fan, you one-sided towards something. So really, people just talk with their breath. Like I'm a KD fan. There's a lot of people I'm gonna say KD better, and he probably ain't. Then I'm gonna take him over.
Told about by these individuals he references, or one that he's been told to memorize in case it comes up. That's all I got.
Sometimes you gotta be a realist, though.
The common interpretation from some commentators is that there is a non-human species.
Larry better than.
Benevolently well disposed to the human race.
Larry's a goat. Larry, they call him Larry Legend.
The logical fallacy there is because
these are people that the guys we like, Michael Jordan, and they all be talking about Larry Bird. Larry's the truth.
Whatever that is or are, but I think what appears to be malevolent activity has happened. Based on not only nuclear site probing activities, witness testimony, I think at least if you look at it through humanistic.
Larry and them Celtics was dominant in a league. With them Pistons and Isaiah Thomas and all them, Larry Legend was doing his fucking thing.
There have been instances, and there are certain techniques.
Have human beings been hurt or killed by a non-human intelligence?
While I can't get into the specifics because that would reveal certain U.S. classified operations.
Michael Air Jordan. You call him the GOAT now. Greatest of all time, Michael Air.
No, I'm scared.
But that's Larry Legend. The legend.
Non-humans may well have murdered human beings.
That seems to be the case at what point, yeah.
This goes smoothly when you know the right steps. With Asana, you can coordinate tasks across teams and stay on track. So your team keeps that.
Larry was bad. Larry's getting older. When Jordan came, he was like Magic, giving the torch over. Magic and Bird was battling. Larry had to battle with them goddamn Showtime Lakers.
Have we made agreements with non-human intelligences?
From that era, people say them Lakers, say there's no team better than them Showtime Lakers.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements links between non-human intelligences and the American government?
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well.
We do know...
I argue with it different because I seen the Bulls.
That's worth noting. This 1971 agreement between the US and the USSR on measures to...
I ain't getting into your trolling, Clyde.
Whether or not you believe Dave Grush, this document proves the two superpowers were aware that UAP existed, whatever they were.
You look at Article 3 of that treaty, it talks about unidentified objects
It's too
near nuclear facilities or
fucking generations.
and that is a treaty.
That's generations of different styles of basketball.
To notify each other if there's a concerning event.
And that's why I'm saying to the Russians, hey, don't shoot against
Bill Russell played down low. KD is not even going to be down there with Bill Russell.
There is an environment where you could have almost like a false flag, where true non-prosaic...
Whole different styles. You can't always... Generations in basketball, you can't compare times. Those eras is them eras.
This is true. If the state...
This era, and LeBron can play in this era, and he was born in this, like, everybody's made in their era. We just gotta be gifted and be glad of your era that you're witnessing. That people don't realize a lot of witness LeBron, but for a lot of these kids, it ain't even LeBron. It's Curry in their era. They're like Steph Curry. Becoming a new era. Ja Morant's and...
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern.
Curry getting forgotten. It's going to a new era.
So you have a strong suspicion that people have been murdered to protect this
over the years. Yeah.
Coming up, Mark, what do you got?
Just one thing on this. White collar crime was committed. I think, we may be getting something factual there. I mean, not that we...
Everybody got an era, but like I tell everybody, you can have Kobe, Jordan, Dirk, all of them. Couldn't none of them fuck with Shaq. Shaq, the most dominant player. Shaq could kill everybody in a 1v1. You get Shaq the ball first, you not gonna stop him.
He's not saying the names of anybody, but it was really un-American things, and he doesn't want to repeat them right now. So it was white-collar crime, very un-American. I would assume, just how prevalent white-collar crime is, that a lot of it is happening in America. That's just the way it is. That's just the nature of crime. So he is a whistleblower. He has lost his whistle. I have the whistle here. But I want to show you, don't worry, Scott, it's going to be okay. But Scott has been protecting his ears for years, and now I'm going to lose them on the behaviour panel. No, because this is the extent of his whistleblowing. That's it. That is the whistle that's getting blown on this one. White-collar crime has occurred. There, you heard it. You heard it here first. Chase, what revelations do you have on this one?
Well, I'm sure Greg's excited that a fact came out. But this video here is essentially just taking an article off of Reddit, then running it through ChatGPT and telling ChatGPT to make it vague and strip all detail from it. That's all I got. Scott?
All right. The first question right out of the gate, I'm always talking about the confirmation novel because I didn't do it, but people let me know they didn't do it. This is the classic. Here, this is the one Dr. Ekman talks about all the time. It's like, as the questions come out, he knows what the question is. It finally dawns on him, he starts shaking his head yes. And as he answers, he's shaking his head yes. Not just the one confirmation nod, it's just like, yeah, it starts that small little nod like that. So that right there, I think, for me anyway, is the most exciting thing I've seen in the last 4 videos. And that is definitely a yes nod. So he's saying yes to that question. And the second question, he has to think about the answer a little bit, and again, he nods several times while he's thinking about it. So that, again, is a yes. And we're seeing the lip compression. That lets us know that this subject is a no-no. He's got to watch what he says about that. But I really, Chase, this guy has rehearsed this. This is nothing, and this is new for him. This is like, we recognize this from prepping witnesses. And all those questions that come in from 90 million different angles. And why would you ask that? Because you never know. So, he's ready. I think you're right, months. I think it's for months, because he's ready for anything. And he cannot answer anything by answering. Fascinating. It's fascinating. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I know watching him is interesting because he evades very effectively. Yeah. And he says, that's what I want to know as well. Well, hold on. I thought you were coming to tell us what's going on. Then he does something that's really one hell of a stretch. But he grabs something factual and concrete and wraps himself in it as this is proof. It's proof that Russia and the U.S. had agreed not to launch a nuclear missile until they verified whether what was going on was an attack or not. Is proof there were UFOs.
Yeah.
No, that would be like me saying, Mark, hey man, late tonight I'm going out back and do some work in the yard. Don't shoot over there just in case. Yeah. That's kind of what we're talking about. That's exactly very sensible. Yeah, really, really logical to me. However, it must have been UFOs. It must have been something, because we all know when we say UFO, it doesn't mean things. It means unexplained. That's all it means. Unexplained things that show up on radar.
I'll be Cam. I just like the player.
We almost had nuclear war.
The NFL. Tom Brady just won, you know. A lot of people not going to win Super Bowls. It's hard to win Super Bowls. A lot of people go down. Like the NBA, Charles Barkley, a lot of people don't win championships. But that don't mean that player ain't the truth.
From what I understand, there's a lilt in his voice at the end because he doesn't know either. The only time we see him starting to really use body language and express himself again is when he pontificates and he's given the opportunity to talk about what he thinks is true. There's a big difference. I don't see any substantive evidence. I would just say, like, what substantive evidence have you seen? What? You got some now? You brought it up. What substantive evidence do you have? I didn't see any. And then that last hard claim, as he gets to it, he does the squelch of the smile again, I think. So, I've lost interest with you, Mark. And you, Scott, but we need to go through these next two so we can see what he has to say about that.
One of those tape replays. It is quite clear that you're talking about agreements between America and non-human intelligences. Have we made agreements with non-human intelligence?
That's the kind of information I really hope national leadership is able to get to the bottom of.
I need to pin you down on this. Are there agreements between non-human intelligences and the American government?
I think that's a question that I would like to know all the details of as well.
We do know of at least one agreement among humans that's worth noting. This 1971 agreement between the US and the USSR on measures to reduce the risk of nuclear war. Whether or not you believe Dave Grush, this document proves the two superpowers were aware that UAPs existed, whatever they were.
You look at Article 3 of that treaty, it talks about unidentified objects near nuclear facilities or interfering with communications, and that is a treaty that has been used, from what I understand, to notify each other if there's a concerning event.
And that's a way of saying to the Russians, hey, don't shoot at us. It's not us.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a concern because of the secrecy. There is an environment where you could have almost like a false flag, where true non-prosalient UAP situation could be contrived as,
No snipe, no.
We want to de-escalate that.
If this is true, if the stakes are so high, if the fate of the human race is at stake,
no snipe, guys.
No surprise to hear Grush say the US government will do anything to keep these secrets safe. Can I put it to you that crimes must have been committed?
At the very least, I saw substantiative evidence that white-collar crime was committed.
Have people been killed to protect this secret?
Based on the people I talked to, that was an ongoing concern. Yeah, unfortunately, I've heard some really un-American things I don't want to repeat right now.
So you have a strong suspicion that people have been murdered to protect.
Years.
Yeah. Coming up, do you have any kind of mental illness?
No.
Have you ever had a psychosis?
No.
Is there anything in your mental history that might be capable of being interpreted as a reason why you might be confabulating?
No. I'm not a disgruntled employee. I resigned on my own accord because I thought altruistically it's more appropriate to show thought leadership on the outside on this now. Because I, in the government, got to right this wrong.
Don't be blunt about this. You're not making this up.
No, absolutely not.
Because everyone watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
You've told us that we really are not alone. Even though you believe what you say is true, you have been fed disinformation. It's a common thing in intelligence for governments to mislead.
Yeah, I was very sensitive to that fact. Was this some kind of ruse against me? Am I being used in any kind of way? And I took about 4 years being very methodical before I found my whistleblower complaint to be absolutely certain of these basic facts.
So take me through the process of how you convinced yourself that this is real.
Well, based on the credential people that came to me, some of these subjects provided me sensitive foreign intelligence to read, sensitive program documents and photographs to evaluate, and then described in very specific detail how all this worked. And they were telling me the extremely specific details.
I need to get a haircut. What the hell is my barber?
It all checked out.
Greg, what do you got? Yeah, I'll be short on this one. He laughs when he's asked, is it alive? That's usually a good indicator for me that I'm going to dig a little closer. Doesn't mean it's always true that a person's lying when they laugh when you ask, but it's usually an indicator that you need to pay attention, especially when you haven't laughed when you ask hard questions before. This time the compression looks unhappy. It doesn't look like just the control. There's a little grief in there. Let's be honest. He's asked, are you being fed misinformation? That's how misinformation works, is you don't know you're being fed it, so you become a patsy, and you become part of it. That's why there's so many cutaways and nothing concrete for you to be involved with. And he just described exactly how this information would work. If Chase is a disgruntled guy, a guy I don't trust, I feed him all kinds of bullshit so that when he leaves, he's going, yeah. That's how it works. And then there's that compression which then engaged again. That looks like control of a smile. It's just me, maybe. Chase, you saw the same thing earlier. I hope you saw it in this one. Chase, what do you got? Yeah, I did. And there's one incredibly unusual thing here. That was in all the other videos. It's lip compression all throughout this video. At the precise moment where we would reasonably expect to see some information withheld by a person who's being told to withhold information by the government. Right here, we see the withholding come immediately after he denies having a mental illness. And if you look, a very small smile after that lip compression. And the interviewer says, this is not a lie, asking him. This is the most expressive we see his legs and lower body in the entire interview. This could boil down to a sudden increase in the intensity of questioning, maybe. He also eye blocks during his initial denial here. So his eyes close during his initial denial. He uses emotional accessing here, down right movement, in the conversation where we would expect a truthful person to access emotional states or recall emotional states. And I think, I don't know. Filing an Inspector General complaint is an emotional thing in the military. I don't care who you are. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. And when he's describing people telling him these extremely specific details, he says it in this clip. This is when he's the most honest here in this clip, I think. And I think he truly did hear a lot from someone. Whether it was some dude he met on 4chan or Twitter, FaceTime
with him or a government official, he doesn't say. But he says they gave him a lot of information.
Well, there's probably a human intelligence.
Got to be. But this is the most anger we've seen so far because he's touching on his mental stability. I think that got on his last nerve because his volume goes up, his tone gets a little bit stronger, his gait speeds up a little bit, everything goes up right there. So this bothers him. That makes him not angry, but you can see that hint of anger on it. And then he talks about the personal and professional risk. Where's that? We already know that what he's saying is kind of okay for the DOD to say. What's he risking here? So if they're going to kill him, they're going to say, yeah, you go say that. Everybody knows it. Are they going to kill him for that? Are they going to cut him off so he can't work anymore? This is, and he has no evidence of anything, so why would they do that in the first place? Something's up here. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so the questioning does get more intense and personal, but he's the person who brings up the idea of disgruntled employee, which I find interesting, saying I'm not one of those. It isn't immediate. We go down the possible mental health ideas. It wouldn't be where I jump to, straight to, well, are you a disgruntled employee? He goes there. I find that interesting. He says he filed a complaint. Well, then that is, that's disgruntled. He's not gruntled about it, he's disgruntled about it. So that seems... Now, I may not be hearing this properly. I know he filed a complaint of the pricing. That's what the documents say. I didn't hear him say IG complaint. Did either of you hear him?
Principal pistol.
I can't work out what he's saying before.
Always there.
I can't make out what he says. I don't think it was IG. I don't think he says complaint of reprisal. I can't tell what it is. Now that I can't tell what it is means there's a little bit of stop for me fading back in that moment because I've heard everything else he says other than exactly what he's saying kind of complaint it is. It might be some terminology that I just can't get.
Come up while I got that in my hand.
Getting information out, and I can't hear exactly what it is. So that alone, whether it might even be IG, and I haven't managed to hear it, that alone that I can't tell you.
I should be right back.
There's something about this complaint. So he brings it up and says, I'm not disgruntled anyway. Made a complaint. What type of complaint? We can't quite hear that, apparently. So, interesting, he's being read by a former Inspector General auditor in California to make this complaint. That's important. It's going to come up in a lot. I think he's going to slightly, what words does he use? What did he say? Disinformation campaign. He said, oh yeah, look out for conflation. He said, look out for conflation. I think he's about to conflate two auditor generals, to inspector generals, the auditors, I think, coming up. Let's see if I'm correct.
One of those tape replays. Do you have any kind of mental illness? No. Have you ever had a psychosis, a delusion? Is there anything in your medical history that might be capable of being interpreted as a reason why you might be confabulating, making things up?
I'm not a disgruntled employee. I resigned on my own accord because I thought altruistically it's more appropriate to show thought leadership on the outside on this now. Because I, hit an impasse within the government to try to right this wrong.
So I'm going to be blunt about this. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
You've told us that you really are not alone. Even though you believe what you say is true, you haven't been fed disinformation. It's a common thing in intelligence for governments to mislead.
Yeah, I was very sensitive to that fact. Was this some kind of ruse against me? Am I being used in any kind of way? And I took about 4 years being very methodical
yourself that this is real? Well, based on the credential people that came to me, some of these subjects provided me sensitive foreign intelligence to read, sensitive program documents and photographs to evaluate, and then described in very specific detail how all this worked, and they were telling me the exact, extremely specific details that it all checked out. Yeah.
The other thing I have trouble with, it's the fact that my experience as a journalist is it's very hard for governments to keep secrets. Most things leak. Your government leaks like a sieve. Why hasn't this leaked?
Well, I've certainly been the recipient of a lot of U.S. government secrets, and I can tell you they've never seen the light of day. That's for sure. And I guess ostensibly this has leaked like a sieve for decades, but it was a very sophisticated disinformation campaign where they allowed some of the truth to come out through some of their trade crafts, but they've disenfranchised people, they've stigmatized it, they made it like this totally wacky thing to talk about. So anybody who may come forward with that kind of information is looked like a total tinfoil hat guy, because it's a perfect amalgamation of disinformation to just make it look crazy.
The best reason to believe Dave Grush may be this document. Remember that whistleblower complaint he filed? It would seem it hasn't fallen on deaf ears. So the Inspector General of the Intelligence Services of the United States has the information you've got.
Yes.
And more importantly, the Inspector General made a determination about the credibility of your complaint.
They found, after interviewing myself and the subjects, and other subjects that I'm not even cognizant of who they were, they found my complaint urgent and credible for the intelligence committees.
The word credible is important. You appreciate it. So, an official investigatory body of the United States government has determined that your allegations are credible.
Correct.
Chase, what do you got?
Here it is again. We're seeing the word sophisticated disinformation again. And while I think his disdain for the
Or picking up where Eli Joestone left off, America's Jesus daddy.
It's time! These are not people of God! They're charlatans!
disinformation about this topic is real. It seems he's got a great deal of unusual respect, maybe, for the process of creating some kind of sophisticated disinformation campaign. It's just unusual to see. When he's talking about the steps of the disinformation process, he uses his left side, which throughout the interview, he illustrates positive things over there on his left side, which I found pretty interesting as well. And he says, I'm not sure the report is what is being looked into. I think there's one point where he says credible with a huge question mark at the end here. And this is his baseline. He's somehow become a person who uses uptalk, but also uses this.
All right, South. Oh. We ain't got nothing on this filter all night, boy.
Yeah, he brings up one thing. He does a resume statement. He is something you always say, Chase. And what he does is say, I had lots of secrets or lots of classified information that never met the light of day. But that's you. That's you. That's only you. And the amount of, and so he's declaring, I never leaked secrets, so they must not leak. Well, that's a bad assumption. That's just a bad basis for an argument. Because what we know is that you can't hold secrets very effectively in the U.S. And by the way, just for 1 second, think about what it would take for this undertaking. You're thinking about UFOs, but I'm thinking about logistics. How many truckloads of X need to go there? What kind of chemicals? What kinds of spectrographs and stuff to test materials? Somewhere along the line, your supply chain gets to be compromising on an operation that is big enough to hold the same problem we had with the Tsar. Well, how does all this work? How does that work? How does this other thing work? Somehow or another, all those pieces of equipment have to get there, and nobody can talk. And trust me, there's some truck driver somewhere.
It's a truck driver somewhere.
Hey, I put this thing on the back of my truck the other day. I drove in down there. What was it? And people collect intelligence that way. If You don't think that's true? Look at TikTok and all those systems and tools, or any of your social media, all the crap that people put out there, that they can build a very quick image of you, and AI can do it for them. So look, it would be really hard to hide something this big, and all the leaks that he's not taking into account while he does his resume statement are part of the thing. The minute he gets back to opinion and belief, he starts to illustrate and do all those things again. But every time you ask him a fact, he gets very, very contained. And again, I'm going to say it may be because that whistleblower does not protect his sources, and he may be ready to compromise them, so we have to be careful with it. But he's got the straightest face we've seen yet in the beginning of this when he's talking about, I never divulged information. Scott, what do you got?
All right, this is the part that backs up my point earlier, where he says, I've heard plenty of stuff I shouldn't be talking about, and I've never said a word about any of it. But he's talking about this. None of this stuff is top secret. None of this stuff is secret at all. It's all been okay, and he's just out talking about it for whatever reason. Mark, what do you got?
No, you're not really talking about it.
That's true too. That's true too. It's just, I'm so.
Words not. Here's what I'd say from my point of view. Having sat in meetings where they are closed meetings and we know what's happening in the meetings cannot be talked about. They are secret meetings. There's all kinds of stuff that people say in that. Why don't those secrets get out? Because they're boring. They're just bureaucratic and boring. My guess is he has a whole bunch of top secret stuff that he knows that he's never told anybody else. Why? Maybe because he's very diligent. Two, because it's bureaucratic, boring stuff. Nobody would ever listen to it. Because you tell you a secret and you told them, yeah, they just go, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's apropos of nothing for everything in a meeting. When you have a certain meeting, what biscuits did you have? I can't tell you. It's a secret. It's a secret what biscuits you have. Everything is a secret in there. If I were to tell you, I might say Jaffa cakes. Now maybe everybody would go, well, that's not a biscuit, that's a cake. Well, it's both a biscuit and a cake, and we'd have to get into the Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes. Yeah. Well, they can't just. Well, it's an English. Everybody English will know. It's an English biscuit, okay, but it's counted as a cake. A cake is not taxed. A biscuit is taxed. It's sweet, cooked twice. The moment you cook something twice, there is a value-added tax to it. But if you call something a cake, but it's the size of a biscuit, it's cheaper because the government don't tax it. Anyway, see what idiot pedantry people get into if you get inside the secrets of things. So most secrets aren't told because they're just plain old boring. Now, the interviewer has a very, in my mind, soft look of pleasure on his face as this subject talks about disinformation. I think the interviewer here knows that there is smells, can taste, there is something up around the idea of him talking about it not being disinformation, and it's feeling a little bit to the interviewer like disinformation. Go back and look at that interviewer's face and just see if you can see the smile of irony on his face as he hears all of this. Now, let me just get into some nitty-gritty of this. There's a complaint of retaliation. Complaint of retaliation, so this is the Inspector General complaint that's out there. It's a complaint about retaliation, okay? And that has gone from an ex-IG to the new IG. But, so when he says, look, your allegations are credible, the allegations are credible, the allegation being made is not one that there's flying saucers. The IG haven't gone, oh yeah, it's credible that he's saying there's flying saucers. The allegation being made is one of him fearing retaliation. And the IG has said, yeah, that's a credible. Now, he's mixed the two up. He hasn't said, no, look, if you think my complaint is about people aren't paying attention to my idea that there's interdimensional beings there, that's not the case. Okay? The IG is paying attention to a complaint of potential retaliation going on. That he's not telling us that. So he's conflating the two things together, and that, by his own logic, is disinformation. That's all I got on that one.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
just the bit on Jaffa Cakes or the rest of it?
No wonder he left England, man. If they charge you once you cook it twice.
Yes, they charge for all kinds of stuff. Yes. Cook it once, that's not a luxury. Cook it twice, that's a luxury. That's value-added tax. If you've ever noticed, English beer glasses have a line that you don't fill fast. Oh, the measurements there are insane. Like, yeah, you can get taxed on that much. Scott, did you ever hear of the window tax? They started taxing people's windows, so they bricked them up. Yeah, avoid the tax. Go around old England, you'll see bricked up windows to the side.
One of those pig replays. The other thing I have trouble with, it's the fact that my experience as a journalist is it's very hard for governments to keep secrets. Most things leak. Your government leaks like a sieve. Why hasn't this leaked?
Well, I've certainly been the recipient of a lot of those government secrets, and I can tell you they've never seen the light of day. That's for sure. And I guess ostensibly this has leaked like a sieve for decades, but it was a very sophisticated disinformation campaign where they have allowed some of the truth to come out through some of their tradecrafts. They've disenfranchised people, they've stigmatized it, they made it like a just totally like wacky thing to talk about. So anybody who may come forward with that kind of information is looked like a total tinfoil hat guy, because it's a perfect amalgamation of disinformation to just make it look crazy.
The best reason to believe Dave Brush may be this document. Remember that whistleblower complaint he filed? It would seem it hasn't fallen on deaf ears. So the Inspector General of the Intelligence Services of the United States has the information you've got.
Yes.
And more importantly, the Inspector General made a determination about the credibility of your complaint.
They found, after interviewing myself and the subjects, and other subjects that I'm not even cognizant of who they were, they found my complaint urgent and credible for the intelligence committees.
The word credible is important.
Yes.
Appreciate it. So, an official investigatory body of the United States government has determined that your allegations are credible.
Correct.
Just one more thing.
What did we see at this stuff? How did we see it?
Yeah, what do I think we've seen? Well, I'm glad to be towards the end of it all now. I think we've potentially seen a pedantic, grudge-bearing individual with the potential, I think, for unwittingly or wittingly being a source of disinformation. Chase, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go long on this. I apologize. I sat for a while this morning trying to figure out just what it is that's making me uneasy about this whole thing. It feels dark to me, and it feels like something is off about this. And it has the feeling of a person involved in something bigger than themselves, as if they were maybe told to make this happen. Maybe told to go with it in an orchestrated way. And this has the hallmarks. This has the hallmarks of a disinformation campaign. I'm the guy that trains the U.S. Army Psychological Operations Command on this stuff. Unusual tonality, like we saw here, happens often on stage.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Visual and repetitive phrases
No snipes
often
tonight.
on stage. Immediate delivery of lines without taking time to process questions happens on stage. Lack of anger about things you're supposed to be angry about